Hi, I'm Anna, and welcome to Should You Read It Episode 1, where I will be doing a detailed book review of The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This is a 292-page coming of age YA romance and book one of the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. Now, before we get any further, I do have a few disclaimers I want to go over. This is a spoiler review. If you have not read the book, I suggest that you read the book, come back. If you want a spoiler-free version, I am currently making a YouTube. I'm on YouTube. I don't know why I said that. I'm currently making a reading vlog where I'm reading books titled Summer, have the word summer in the title. I think that will be out 2 weeks after I post this, so there's that. I do not know the author personally. Review is not intended for her, her friends, her family. This is not me trying to bash the author. This is not me trying to do anything of that sort. This is just my review on a book that I read and may or may not like. Now that we've said that, I also want to say, as a book enthusiast, I will always encourage reading. So this is not me trying to discourage you from reading the book. If you have it, you should read it. If you haven't read it and want to, don't let me discourage you. Now, if you have this book and you have read it, let me know in the comments below one thing you liked or did not like about this book. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, especially since it is free $99. Also, as a benefit of subscribing, you may be able to choose the next book I do a book review on. Now, I'm going to try to do as much of this review from memory as possible. This is my very first type of review like this, and it is a learning curve, so things may or may not change as time progresses, and I'm just going to go through the review. I may or may not have some quotes or stuff from the book that I didn't like, but with that said, we're going to get right into the review. So, first I do want to start off by saying, if you have read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I will insert a picture, this book is like a younger version of Happy Place in terms of how it is written and it is told. Now, it is a single POV. Belly is the only one talking. And something that happens from time to time is you can tell that Belly is young in the way the story is written. And as someone who writes, I love when the story is told based on the maturity of the author, especially if it's told in a first person point of view. So I really love that. There are a few things that happen that I think were a little bit cringe. We start off the book with main character Belly going to cousins like she has done for the past 16 summers. As you know, everything's about to change. There's a lot of things that's going to happen. I also forgot to read to you the synopsis, so I'm going to read that right now because I know if I don't, I will not remember. Belly measures her life in summers. Everything good, everything magical happened between the months of June and August. Winters are simply a time to count the weeks until the next summer. A place away from the beach house, away from Susanna, and most importantly, away from Jeremiah and Conrad. They're the boys that Belly has known since her very first summer. They have been her brother figures, her crushes, and everything in between. But one summer, one wonderful and terrible summer, the more everything changes, the more it ends up just the way it should have been all along. Fantastic. So, we start off the book with Belly going to cousins the way she has done for the last 16 summers. She's currently 15. She is born in August, the last day in August or something along that line. And so, she's driving her brother Kevin I don't know why. Sometimes I call him Kevin, sometimes I call him Steve. His name is Stephen. So her brother Stephen is driving, and Stephen is going off to college, so she's gonna get his car at the end once she finally gets her driver's license. And so they're driving to cousins. We get there, and Belly describes Conrad. He is the darker of the two brothers. He's a smirky person. He has this smartness about him, and she has a really big crush on him. You can tell initially from the start, while Jeremiah has kind of always been more of a friend to her, even though he was the one who gave her first kiss, albeit not that romantic. So, as they kickstart with the usual summer tradition, they call her Belly Button, which is kind of cute because they call her Belly Buttons when she's acting like a baby. And then they have all these other belly way versions of themselves with belly nicknames or something along that line, which is kind of cute because I do that sometimes with my daughter. She has different nicknames for different things, so I kind of get that. And there's some reference that Belly makes, which makes her a little bit more mature than she actually should be. And there are times throughout the book when I was reading which I think Belly needed to speak to someone, because when her parents got a divorce, I'm not sure how much her dad told her exactly why they were divorcing. Or as a parent, sometimes you try to shelter your kids by not telling them the full details of the story. And so she blames her mother for the divorce. And you see this in the writing, because there are times when their mom will do something and she never gives her mom the benefit of the doubt. Albeit she's a teenager. And one of the things I had with this book is, I don't know if it's the cultural differences, but I find it hard to relate to a lot of things that she said. We're going to sit back to chapter 1. So I think one of the reasons why she likes Conrad or Jeremy or Jeremiah or whichever one of the brothers she likes, earlier, like ever since she was a kid, Susanna would say stuff like, I hope you end up with my boys. I know you have my unequivocal blessing, all that stuff. And that sounds lovely. I'm happy that she wants one of her boys to end up with the daughter of her best friend. Cute. However, Belly worships Susanna. And when you read this for yourself, you're going to see that there's always this comparison of Susanna, the way how it's written, you can tell that she thinks Susanna is a lot better than her mom. And when you worship someone or you idolize them, you always try to please them. So while reading this book, and I think that's one of the reasons why I tend not to read coming of age YA books as a 27-year-old. I cannot relate to anything that happened in this book. It got to a part where I was wondering, who was my first kiss? I'm trying to remember who was my first kiss. Where was my first kiss? I was like, I can't remember any of that stuff. Also, let me know in the comments below if you remember your first kiss or where your first kiss was. I don't remember any of that stuff. I also don't ever remember having a crush. I was never that girl, I was never that girl. So, we're moving on. Belly met this boy called Sam, and he remembered her from this convention. And later in the story, he tells her that the reason why he remembered her is because he thinks she's cute. And instead of saying, wow, I never knew you thought of me, she did not believe that he thought she was beautiful. And the part that baffles me is she has people constantly telling her how beautiful she is, especially Susanna. She does that a lot. And for some reason, I don't know if you can tell, I kind of didn't enjoy this book. I'm trying to do this review and try to, get through it and share with you all the reasons why you should or shouldn't read this book. And I'm just thinking to myself, I was thinking to myself, I'm just, I'm just thinking to myself. Also, another issue that I have, and I, I probably suck at this stuff. So I'm not gonna try to tell this like anyone else. I'm gonna try to tell it the way I like to tell stories. The way I tell stories, I don't always go in chronological order. I tell stories all over the place. And if that's not for you, then I'm sorry. So, Belly never thinks she's beautiful. She never thinks she's a girl that boy likes. And then she invited Taylor over one summer in hopes that with Taylor there, Taylor was like a backup or shoe in or standing. She was hoping that by inviting Taylor, Jeremiah, I always call him Jeremy, and I blame Taylor for that because she did call him Jeremy. Jeremiah and Conrad would see that she's also a pretty girl too. Now, I don't know why Belly doesn't think she is beautiful because there is never a reference, even when she does like the flashback, there's never a reference where the boys have thought that she was ugly. If they always treat her like a child because she's the youngest. I have younger brothers, but no one. And I'm trying to like figure out why she didn't think she was beautiful. And then there was this thing where I don't know why they always do it in books where two girls can never be friends and they're like they just have similar different personalities and whatever. One always has to be the more naive, um, or the one that thinks she's ugly, and then one has to always come off as the more sluttier version. Because there was a particular page where Belly did call Taylor as her best friend at Spot. And since she invited Taylor when I think she was 14 to the house, to the summer house, the beach house, she and Taylor have never been best friends since. And I read this book and it took me over 5 pages because at page 70, and I remember because I was like, at page 70, I wanted to DNF this book. And I'm not gonna try to stretch out this review. This was a 3 star, and that's just me being generous. I did not like it. No, the question is, should you read it? No, I would not. I would not encourage anyone over the age of 21 to read this book. It is a YA. A bunch of nothings happen. It's just her telling you how it's basically her glow up, her coming of age. She finally took matters in her hand because she's had this obsession over Conrad all her life. She finally confessed to him that she has a thing where she was, do I love him, don't I love him? She met this really nice boy, Sam, who thought she was the most beautiful thing, and all at the same time, all she could think about was Conrad. Jeremy confessed that something changed this summer and he thinks he likes her. And then she's like, I can't be with you because there's Conrad. And Conrad's been a jerk all summer. And at the end, they skip to winter because she's never seen any of them in winter because they only have a summer relationship. Then at the very end of the book, it skipped to winter, insinuating that Belly and Conrad got together. And I'm like, when? How? Where? The last few pages I read before that, he says that he can't commit to her after she kissed him because he's not in the right frame of mind, because his parents are getting a divorce because their mom, Susanna, has cancer, her cancer has returned. Also, they dragged out the whole she's getting sick again aspect of the book. Then there was this entire aspect that they drawn out about because Conrad has been acting a jerk all summer. I felt like I read the book And I haven't learned anything about these people. All I know for sure is that Belly has this hyperfixation on Conrad, and I don't care what anyone says. I personally do not think she likes him the way she thinks she likes him. I think that over time she has developed this love for him because when she was a child, Susanna said that she wanted her to end up with her boys, and she worshipped Susanna because they have like little teeny tiny moments. And I remember when she said they're like brother figures to her, and I couldn't get behind it. I don't personally. If this was just a coming of age story, it would have been fine. Cause Belly is, if I had one word to describe her, she's intense, and I think she needs therapy. Cause she has a lot of pent up anger, and she's hot and cold. She's a yin and yang, and I find it hard to relate to her because I'm not a 16-year-old. I'm 27. And so if you're over the age of 21, I would not suggest that you read this book. It is called YA Coming of Age for a reason. So I'm just going to end this because I know I'm going to go off on a rampage because I'm getting really, 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 really mad. I'm not getting mad. I think I am. I'm not. There were a lot of things that happened in this book, and I know it would have. I know I say it would have been a spoiler. I did spoil a lot of stuff. Her first kiss. Jeremy is her friend. They developed this relationship because they're the ones that they're the in terms of age it is Conrad, then Stephen, then Jeremy, then Belly. So Jeremy and Belly are like closer in age, so they have a much closer relationship. And Taylor was there, they were having like a whole truth and dare, and like Taylor asks, truth or dare, Jeremy, and he says, dare. And she said, I dare you to kiss one person in the room. And it was just the five of them. And she thought he was going to kiss her, so she fixed her hair and leaned back. And instead, he kissed Ellie. Like a something between a French kiss and a peck. I don't know what you guys call that. And then later on, he told her, like, when they were driving when she was 16, he found out that he knows that she is his first kiss, right? And they kind of they, the author kind of dragged it out a little because at first, when I found out that he was her first kiss, because we found out that he was her first kiss in the present, I was like, I thought it was a little bit more on the romantic side, and then later on, you find out it was truth and dare, and I'm trying to figure out like, so this is why I think the flashbacks to the past they didn't add anything to the story. Everything that I've learned through the flashbacks of the story could have been explained in the present without sounding infodumpy because I read 209 it wasn't I read this book to the finish and I haven't learned anything about any of them except through Belly's eye, and I don't think she is the best narrator. I'm not the best narrator either, but she's not. And then it makes sense because she's 16. But there are some times when she make references that I don't think I don't think it was the voice of the character, but the voice of the author. Meaning, like when I'm writing a fantasy story, and if you've ever read those fantasy stories where you can tell that the nat stuff from that wouldn't make sense in the fantasy world is drawn. I'm a writer, I write fantasies. It's like those little reference where like there is this line where a guy says something to her and then she says sounds like something a guy would say to you at a bar. And I'm like, you're 16. You've never even had a beer. You've never had an alcoholic beverage. How would you know what a guy would say to a girl at a bar. You see where I'm going? There's this other time where she says something and then she says, sounds like something from a 1950 Coke commercial. I don't know about any of you, but I've never seen a 1950 Coke commercial. And so I went online and I was trying to see what year this book, what year was this taking place? Because I'm saying to myself, I don't think this was taking place in the 21st century. Because there's no way you should make a reference like that. And then Belly is someone who reads, and then she says the craziest stuff for a reader. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. So, I could go on for hours about all the things I didn't like about this book, but I have shared a few things that I like. I do like that the book, for the most part, you can tell that is being told by a kid. I love when books do that. I'm glad that is the summer that Belly turns pretty. I'm glad that she finally got her voice. I'm glad that she finally told Conrad how she felt. I'm so happy for her, but at the same time, I'm thinking that I haven't watched a TV show, but if you love this book, or if you have plans to read this book, just watch the movie. I'm thinking I should have watched the movie because it has white all over it, and that's why I don't want to be pissed. Because I went on TikTok once, and someone says, someone was talking about, oh, this book is so childish, and someone in the comments says it is white. So I don't want to be that person. But okay, if I had read this at 16, it would have been a 5-star. I'm gonna have to be honest. I really don't like. I try to read coming of age stories, and like I've been trying to read like young Little Woman for like the longest time, and I'm like, ugh, 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 ugh. I might enjoy it more because I really do enjoy historical fictions, but I don't know. This book, yes, I know. If you're here, I suck at this. This is my first one. I promise I will get better. I will take notes. I'll talk about stuff that I like. I'll try to do these book reviews in chronological order next time. I just ask that you just bear with me a little bit. So thank you so much for watching my review of The Summer I Turned Pretty. Please let me know respectfully in the comments if you agree or disagree with my review. And keep devouring those books, you beautiful bookworm. And I'll see you in my next video. Have a wonderful year, month, week, day, hour, minute, second. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.